Welcome back to ModSauce. Alright, I gotta tell you, this thing here is a failure. The way it was set up before is a complete failure. Because, apparently, the only explanation I can think for it is apparently, somehow, I had the settings on the Tesseract wrong. And apparently some other setting was wrong. Because over the weekend, there was a problem. This thing got so jammed up, the turtles got so jammed up, that somebody had to come in here and break the turtles and set them in here. Because the whole thing was causing mountains of lag. There were hundreds of thousands of chicken eggs in this whole factory area, apparently. And it was lagging everything down, so they had to break the turtles and set them in there. I logged on a few hours ago, and this whole freaking place, there were at least 1,000 each of chickens and cows and pigs roaming all over the place. I can't tell for certain if this thing was still spawning more, but the chamber in there was full. So I came up here and I broke the Tesseract. End of problem right there. And just to make sure, I took the safari nets out of the auto spawners and shut the whole thing down permanently that way. And then I took an hour counting people, 60 minutes at least, killing all the things that were laying around here. Well, on the good side, let's see. Okay, the chicken is all pretty much done processing by now, I'm sure. But I've got 3,000 raw beef, I've got 4,000 raw pork chops, and I've got machines set up down here. This one's processing raw beef, this one's processing pork chops, getting them all cooked up, and I'll do something with that here in a little bit. But as for this thing, I'm thinking it needs a redesign. Obviously I've taken up the conveyor belts, I've removed the hardware that I had down here, I've made up some more of these vacuum hoppers, and I'm just going to pop one in each of these holes. And I'm going to rely on the fact that vacuum hoppers, according to their documentation, are supposed to pick up everything from a 3-block radius. Okay, so that'll be fine right there. And then for killing the mobs, iron spikes. The iron spikes will kill the mobs. They preserve the drops. They don't collect experience, but that's okay, because I do have that little thing there where I've got the XP berry farm, so I can come up with all of that I really need. Although I'm kind of interested if it's possible to liquefy. Okay, they are deadly. I wonder if it's possible to liquefy the output from the XP berries, the essence berries. I'm just wondering. I don't know. Maybe if you put XP berries in a squeezer or something like that, perhaps. I may try it sometime, but I'm not really going to be all that stressed about it because it's not that important. I'm not going to get onto one of those things again if I can help it. Oh, no, you don't. Okay. I've also expanded the boundaries of this room a little bit so that the outer walls take into account that spawns from those machines will happen up to 4 blocks away from it. A 5-block radius with the machine in the center. So, oh, that one, I may have to bring this wall out. I hope not. I don't want to mess with that. I'm going to try to avoid it if I can. Alright, so just pop this on here. Now anything that spawns in there is going to fall down on them spikes and die immediately. That's just fine with me. What I'm thinking here... Oh, heck. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can just get it done with these item conduits. The Ender IO item conduits. Apparently they don't talk to those things. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh. NEI, get out of my way. Come on. You're supposed to be able to click on this to set aside as an output. Alright, now, is that the bottom? No, it's not the bottom. Okay, that's annoying. We've got an extra output line. Let's see. Now, can I get this Ender IO thing to hook up to it? Yes, I can. Alright. There, that's better. It just needs a good solid double click, apparently. Of course, I say that and then nothing happens. Alright. So much lag and so few FPS. What? Yeah, I'm getting 120 here. That's bad. Oh, come on, Ender IO. Alright, I'm going to be back when I have all these set. This is going to take a while, it seems. Okay. I don't know what's going on with these. These guys over here all seem to work. They're set up, and and I looked it up on the wiki. What you're supposed to do is you get it hooked up, and you just left-click on the face that you want the output to be on. Just that simple. And that's what I've been trying to do. And this one, left-click, nothing. Right-click, nothing. Both-click, nothing. Repeatedly left-click, double-clicking, and so on. Nothing. I have no idea why it won't work on this one, but it does on that one. And there's 3 more of them over here where it doesn't seem to want to work. So I'm going to put item transfer nodes on there. I'm going to see if this will connect to it. No, of course it will not. So I'm going to end up having to get some item transfer pipe and hook those in, if that will function. Oh, wait a minute. Now, finally, it has that on there. And I know this sucker will connect to that, because of that. Alright, does that mean that this one will work? Okay. Why it wouldn't do it before, I have no idea. Unless there is some kind of a lag issue, perhaps? You see, it worked with this one, but I can't get it to go with this one. This is weird. And I had to left click on that thing about 75 times just now. Alright, that's an exaggeration, but you get the idea. Left double clicking a lot. A whole lot. Alright. Oh, you son of a... You saw that? It blinked in and disappeared on me. I don't know if this is a... Oh, hey, good. There. Great. Fantastic. Awesome. Alright, now we've got it all hooked up with the item conduit. I've got the item conduit run over here into this chest, which is set up and accelerated to pull things into the AE system. So, anything that goes in there is going to die. Its drops will get picked up by the vacuum hoppers, assuming everything works as advertised. And that will take care of that. The next thing is to arrange control and power. And I have decided that while I normally have a high confidence in level emitters, I'm not going to do that this time. At least not right now. I don't want to risk this thing coming on and running frickin' wild the way it did this weekend. I do not want to be the reason the server has mountains of unexplainable lag. So, take a tesseract, and let's just get a lever, and some kind of block that we can put the lever on. Alright, pop this here. Redstone signal required high. We're set up for that. TFC main power, actually. Let's change that. Okay. And now, alright, let's just put a redstone lever down here. Now, are these running? Apparently they are. Okay. Alright. Items. Blocked. Fluid receive. Power receive. Alright, now we'll flip the lever. Are you telling me these chisel blocks won't transmit a redstone signal? Okay. That's certainly what it looks like. Fortunately, I have some good old-fashioned vanilla stone brick. Oh, of course. Yeah. Holy derpage. Yeah. I had taken out the safari nets as an additional, let's make sure it's really turned off good measure. Alright. Flip the lever. Come back and have a look. Pig is standing there. on that spike like he means to be there for the rest of his life. Well, I guess he got that done. Now, are these vacuum hoppers going to pick these items up through the spikes? I gotta tell you, it's not looking good so far. Let me turn off this magnet. Now, I'm not seeing any item suckage here. I'm not seeing any item suckage at all. I'm also not seeing any more mobs. What the heck? Power's gone. Okay, flip the switch. And the power is trying to come back up. Okay. And getting used as soon as it does. Okay. The dead mob part of this is working. But item collection seems to be kind of hanging there. Yeah. This thing's gonna need some work. Apparently those vacuum hoppers are not going to work from underneath the spikes. That's really kind of annoying. Because I kind of had the impression that they were supposed to do that. Yeah. I suppose I could have a water stream come across the top of the spikes. If that will even work. Well, let's turn that off. Kill that bloody so-and-so chicken. Let's get some water and find out. There we go. Strangely enough, that water stream is not moving the items. They're not moving. How about that? I don't know what to tell you there. That's just a mystery. And that's one of those things that obviously it's going to take some figuring out. Oh, tell me my tesseract didn't go down there. Well, apparently it did. Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to continue with this. Let's make certain it doesn't go crazy thing again. I'm going to remove the safari nets. I do not want unintended, undesired spawning. I don't want this thing going crazy. Alright, going to have to figure out how to deal with picking up the items out of this. I thought that those vacuum hoppers would do that through those things. I could have sworn I've seen videos of people doing that, but apparently I was wrong. In any event, I'm going to do at least some of what I had set out to do. Let's ditch a bunch of this crap. Put those away. All right. Alright, we got a couple of thousand cooked pork chops here. Oh, wait a minute. Put the rest of this stuff up in here for now. No, not you. Let's see. Cooked pork chop and cooked chicken. Okay, a couple of gold chests. Actually, yeah, okay, we'll start with a gold chest. Just set that down here. I'll fill one of them with the chicken. I'll fill the other one with pork. And then we'll go get those things set up. Okay, I got everything all packaged up here. I ended up going with the iron chest because there wasn't enough to fill a gold one. So we've got steak, cooked chicken, cooked pork chops, and just as a side benefit, we have leather. Just a little bit. Now, I'm going to go ahead and package these up with these diamond dollies. And then I'm going to store them in this golden bag of not getting weary because I'm carrying stuff like that. And I will go ahead and deliver that over to the butcher shop in town, finish the construction on that, and I think it's going to be tentatively open for business. It's going to take me a while to get this thing set up to where it's going to auto resupply. I'm not sure what I need to do with this. I suppose I could take all these excessive number of spikes out, put the conveyor belts back in, have the conveyor belts push the mobs over to some place where they will fall onto the spikes, die, and then have a row of vacuum hoppers alongside that area to pick up the drops. Perhaps that will work. Perhaps I will try that, and if it works, I will report positive on that and show it in the next episode. But I'm not going to make you watch me fuss around trying to figure all that out, because it may take me a couple of hours to get it all totally straight and right. In any event, I'm trying to breeze through things because I want to get to something else. And it's like all my machines. I'm starting to move the machines in. I'll talk about that next time because I'm starting to run short on time here. But basically, I'm getting the machines set up and the automation, and I'm going to work on getting the auto crafting set up and so on and all of that. But I'm going to do most of that off camera because that is not my focus. How many times have you seen somebody set up an AE system and automatic processing? Yeah, exactly. It's been done to death. Mind you, I have not the least hesitation to do it if it weren't for the fact there's something else I want to do. And that has to do with an item frame, a book, and this stuff, of which I am extremely upset. Because I spent... You see, I wanted to get started into Ars Magica. And so I looked at the Ars Magica website. And the Ars Magica website, their wiki made it clear that in order to do anything with Ars Magica, you needed to have this stuff called liquid essence. And so I took the time to go looking for it. I flew several thousand blocks off in, I believe, that direction. Yeah, I think it was that general direction. Anyway, I flew several thousand blocks out into new generated chunks. Chunks that have been generated since Ars Magica was added to this pack. And I flew around and I searched for liquid essence. I looked on the wiki. They showed a picture of a pool, a 2x2 pool of liquid essence. And I was looking for that. I was looking for that all over the place. It was very hard to find. I searched, like I said, I spent a good 3 or 4 hours flying around in new generated chunks trying to find it. Couldn't find it at all. Had just about gotten so angry about it that I was I was thinking, if the stuff is that important, why would it be that rare that you'd have to search for hours to find it? And so I just got fed up, and I just logged out. I quit. I said, to heck with it. I sat down to watch one of Zuljan's videos, and the video that I happened to watch, and I picked it because its title mentioned Ars Magica. I looked into that video, and he was just getting started up in that video in Ars Magica. And he showed what it was that you needed to do to get going. And the stuff you needed for this version of Ars Magica is liquid Ethereum, not liquid essence. And liquid Ethereum, as you can see in the bucket here, looks kind of whitish, an off-whitish kind of light, almost wants to be bluish kind of thing. Well, let's spill some out and show you. See? It looks almost kind of like a light blue wants to be water. And it behaves just like water. Apparently you can put yourself out if you're on fire, and so on. But it doesn't look at all like the liquid essence that the website said you had to have. And I suppose there's a reason for that. It's not liquid essence. So I'm just going to put this down here to keep from making a mess down there. And so, now, finally, I had a clue. Zuljan knew what was going on, and he made it very clear. You get this liquid Ethereum, which I had seen that stuff all over the place, but I ignored it because it didn't remotely look like liquid essence. And I tell you what, a lack of up-to-date documentation really roasts my cookies something awful. I hate that. And the one thing I hate worse than that is when I went Google searching to find a clue, to get some help, to figure out what was going on, what I was doing wrong. The general attitude I discovered among a lot of posts written about Ars Magica was that apparently it's supposed to be more fun to figure all this out the hard way in-game. And maybe if you're playing a solo kind of thing, and if that's your kind of play style, that might be cool. But I'm not doing that sort of thing. I'm recording videos. I'm trying to be entertaining and do something new and cool. And I don't want to freaking spend 9 years trying to figure out how to do something. I'd rather just simply do it and then do something cool with it. Apparently this is what you have to do to get what little documentation there exists in this book that is about to be created. Of course, I don't know how long it's going to take, but that's what you have. You put the liquid Ethereum down. You put a book and an item frame, a vanilla book and a vanilla item frame, and all this stuff with the particles here, the rune-shaped particles and so on, starts going into the book. And eventually it's supposed to turn into the Arcane Compendium. There it is. Okay, we have the Arcane Compendium. We have a foreword, yada yada yada. And here is all about everything. Now what I want to do starting next episode is I want to get into this thing. I want to go through the whole thing. I know there's not much showing here right now, but as you do more stuff unlocks. I want to get into this stuff and get this whole mod figured out. I want to figure out how to do something with everything in this book if I can. And to that end, all the rest of this stuff is going to be background. It's going to be background, mostly done off camera, and done specifically to support whatever's going on here in the compendium. And that's going to be the main focus for the time being, for the foreseeable future, because it just, like I said, this really roasts my cookie something awful, that everything in this mod seems to be a bloody secret. And so I'm going to find out those secrets, and I'm going to video all of it as much as I possibly can. I may not do very good at it, but by God, there's going to be some kind of documentation for this thing when I'm done. And so, one thing here, what's going to come in here is the fact that this is going to be one of those viewer participation things. I don't know diddly squat about Ars Magica 2 other than what you've just seen. And so, what I want to do is do this in a viewer participation way. I'm going to need all the clues that you guys can provide me, because I don't have one right now. The only clue I have is right here. I'm holding it right there. So, definitely, let's get this going. I'm looking forward to you guys' input, how to do stuff, and so on. I'm going to read through what there is in the book, the UI, the first spell, and the recommended things, and so on. I'll read through all of that, and then we'll get started next episode doing stuff with this thing, even if it is half of it done wrong in baby steps and whatnot. And when I do something wrong with it, or when there's a better way to do something, please let me know what that is, and we'll get this thing figured out, and we'll get it documented in a whole series of videos. How about that? Thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'm out of here.